Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to Sir Sophie. My name is Muhamad Wafiq bin YOSRI. So in this video, my members and I will be explaining regarding the financial ratio analysis of the selected company, which is Tasco Berhad. So why do actually we need to do with the financial ratio analysis? The reason is that we need to evaluate the financial health of the company by scrutinizing the past and also the current financial statements. The reason that we need to evaluate is because the comparative data can demonstrate how the company is performing over time to time, and the data also can be likely to be estimate the future performance of the company. Another reason is because the comparative data can compare companies' financial standing with industry average while measuring how a company stacks up against others within the same sector. So, in this assignment, we are going to start with a brief introduction of the selected company's background, which is Tasco Berhad. Next, it will be followed by the ratio analysis, consists of liquidity ratios, leverage ratios, and also profitability ratios. Next, we are going to analyze the trends of the company by computation of liabilities category. All the data and also facts that we allocate are based on the annual report of the company and also the company's website. So, Tasco Berhad was incorporated on 10 September 1974 as a private limited company. Later on, it was converted to a public limited company on 14 December 2001. So basically, Tasco Berhad is engaged as a total logistics solution provider. So as at 30 September 2008, Tasco Berhad has expanded its business as it has 31 local offices, 971 employees, and also 1,500 active customers and 300 active suppliers. And until now, Tasco Berhad is known as the largest telespectrums in Malaysia. So let's get started with the first ratio, liquidity ratio. For the current ratio, this ratio to determine the company's ability to pay its short-term obligation. As you can see, Tasco Berhad's current ratio is 2.02 times, meanwhile the industry average is 3.76 times. It shows that Tasco Berhad has 2.02 times of its current assets as a backup for every 1 ringgit of current liabilities. It shows that Tasco Berhad has unsatisfactory ratio. Thus, Tasco Berhad has problem to liquidate their current assets, pay their current obligations at one time. So, in order to improve this, Tasco Berhad need to improve their sales in order to increase their receivables as well as reduce their short-term debt. For the asset base ratio is actually to determine the company's ability for the use of their short-term assets to cover their immediate liabilities. As you can see, Tasco Berhad has 2.02 times compared with industry average 2.91 times. It means that Tasco Berhad has RM 2.02 cents to cover their immediate liabilities. So, since Tasco Berhad has lower asset ratio, the company is taking more risk by maintaining appropriate buffer on the liquid resources. Therefore, to improve this, Tasco Berhad need to improve their sales and also pay the current bills on time so that the cash on hand increases.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I am FATINI BINTI RAHMAN. For debt ratio, it shows that Tasco Berhad has a high ratio which is 60.40% compared to industry average 45%. It means that the company has a weak performance because higher debt ratio indicates the business use more debt to finance its growth as well as leads to high risk in investment. The company has RM 0.6040 for every RM 1 ringgit of asset to have invested in measures the ability of company to pay off the debt in the future. To improve this, Tasco Berhad should issue more new shares or stocks to gain more money in a view to repay debts that company has occurred. Next is debt to equity ratio. This ratio used to see how company's capital has been raised to run the business. From the calculation above, the company's ratio is 1.53 times, which is higher than the industry average 0.51 times. Higher ratio leads to more risk in investment, and this can cause the business not being able to get enough money to repay the debt. Therefore, the most logical step that Tasco Berhad could take to reduce their debt is by increasing their sales or profit as well as reduce the company's expenses. After that is time interest earned. The company's interest earned is above the industry ratio, which is negative 18.03 times. It means that Tasco Berhad's performance is satisfactory since the company might borrow the fund with a low interest rate. The lenders also would be interested in investing into the company because the company is able to pay in time. In order to maintain the time interest earned to reach the moderate level, the company should try to obtain loans, lower interest rate, and reduce operating expenses. For gross profit margin in profitability ratio, the company's ratio is below the industry average, which is 24.5%. It means that the company make less profit than other company in the same industry. Tasco Berhad making RM0.1163 profit for every RM1 ringgit sales made. It shows that the company does not have the efficiency of controlling its cost of goods sold as well as pricing policy implemented. In order to improve it, Tasco Berhad needs to make sure that their gross profit is above the industry average by increasing the sales and reduce their expenses, such as labor costs. The next one is operating profit margin. The operating profit margin is above the industry average by 0.6833%, which means the company's profitability is higher than the companies in the same industry. This profit made from the operation of the company after deducting all the costs exclude interest and taxes from sales. Tasco Berhad made RM0.01 profit for every RM1 ringgit sales that would indicate the financial efficiency and stability. In order to maintain the operating profit margin, the company should review the selling price and reduce operating costs. After that, in profitability ratio, we also have to calculate the net profit margin, and from the calculation above, Tasco Berhad has high net profit ratio, which is 11.63%, compared to industry average negative 4.4%. The company made RM0.1163 of net profit for every RM1 ringgit of sale. It means that the company more effective in controlling the costs. In order to maintain the good net profit ratio is, Tasco Berhad can increase the revenue or increase the selling price to get more profit. The second last of profitability ratio is return on asset, which is to indicate the management's ability to make profit from the firm's investment in asset. Tasco Berhad incurred 9.47% return on asset, which is higher than industry average 5.7%. This means the company is good at managing their asset to generate earn because they are able to generate RM0.0947 of net income for every RM1 ringgit of total asset invested. To maintain this ratio, Tasco Berhad can increase its total asset in order to have a higher or moderate return on asset. The last one is return on equity. Company's return on equity 23.91% is above the industry average, which is negative 0.3%. Tasco Berhad generate RM0.2391 of net income for every RM1 ringgit of total equity invested. It means that Tasco Berhad used their capital excellently in generating its net income. In order to maintain the good performance, Tasco Berhad should reduce the asset or inventory to reach a good return on equity. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is BINTI and I'm going to explain to you about the common sales ratio for Tasco Berhad. Firstly, the property, plant and equipment in 2019 is 40.13% of the total assets, while 29.22% in 2018. And it shows that the common sales ratio for PPE has increased by 10.91% in 2019. It means that the company has purchased more fixed assets or tangible assets in 2019 as compared to 2018. For investment in subsidiary companies, the investment in subsidiary companies in 2019 is 4.90% of the total assets, while in 2018 is 5.83%. It shows that the common sales ratio for investment in subsidiary companies has decreased by 0.93% in 2019. In 2019, it shows that there are no changes in unquoted shares in investment of subsidiary companies for both years. Okay, the next one is investment in association companies. In 2019 is 0.38% of total assets, while 0.46% in 2018. It shows that the common ratio for the investment for association companies has decreased by 0.08% in 2019. Okay, we move on to investment in a joint venture. Investment in a joint venture in 2019 is 0.51% of total assets, while 0.06% in 2018. This shows that the common ratio for investment in a joint venture has increased by 0.45% in 2019. The last one is other assets. The company other assets in 2019 is 0.13% of total assets, while 0.15% in 2018. It shows that the common ratio for other assets in 2019 has decreased by 0.02%. Okay, now we focus on the common size ratio for non-current liabilities of Tasco Berhad. The first non-current liability is bank term loans. The bank term loans in the year 2019 is at 32.35%, while in 2018 is 24.59% of total equity and liabilities. It shows that the company has increased their common ratio for bank term loans in 2019 by 7.76%. The second one is deferred tax liability. In the year 2019 is at 1.34%, while in 2018 is at 1.26% of total equity and liabilities. The company has increased its common size ratio for deferred tax liability by 0.08% in 2019. This means that the company has to pay more tax in 2019 and does not pay the due tax liability from the past year. Okay, in conclusion, if you look back at all the ratios, Tasco Berhad shows a good performance and good example for other companies for the current year 2019 as the effectiveness of the management to handle and distribute the company's financial effectively. That's all from us. Thank you.